Today on What's Next.
There's nothing really in between the alcohol scene and a coffee shop. And this really gives you the social part.
Learned a lot, and definitely about growing older.
You always can learn from younger people and older people.
Once you get playing games, like, people open up. So I think that's the main focus, is just connection.
Hello and welcome into Growing Boulder's What's Next. This is the show that's designed to inspire all of us to lead lives that are full of passion and purpose and possibility, and to seize the most out of every day because, as we all know, the clock is ticking. I'm Mark Middleton, and on today's show, we're going to share stories that underscore the importance of social connection to our overall health and the many ways we can all get involved with others, everything from physical activity to volunteering to sharing passions in clubs and even playing video games. We are made to engage. It's a genetic imperative, so let's get with it. Team GB starting lineup, as always, Cecily Wilson, Bill Schaefer, and Amy Sweezy. So Bill, let's start by finishing this sentence. Social connection is blank.
Social connection, Mark, is essential to your health and well-being. How's that?
Perfect. Cess?
Okay. Kind of doing the same. It's necessary. Definitely necessary. We cannot do without it because isolation leads to depression.
Well, I'm going to go in a little bit different direction and say that social connection is evolving. I mean, think about all the different ways that we can get together and meet new people. In some cases, actually, it can make us healthier. If you guys haven't heard about this, there is a new trend that's really gaining popularity in the US. Kava bars. They're popping up on all the corners. It's a tea that is a healthier alternative to alcohol, and it really helps foster a deeper social connection instead of alcohol, especially between different generations. I recently visited Zenva, which is a kava tea bar in Winter Park, Florida, and I learned more about kava with the owner, Anna Martel.
Hola. Kava is the root of a pepper plant from the Polynesian Islands. It is ground down into a tea and brewed. Traditionally, it's very, very earthy. It's anti-anxiety, anti-stress, helps you sleep really, really well. There's nothing really in between the alcohol scene and a coffee shop. And this really gives you the social part of being out. I think there's just such a need for it. If you don't go out drinking, there's really nowhere to go and socialize.
Anna Martel left behind a career in wedding planning and interior design to open Zenva, transitioning to business entrepreneur and bar owner. Did you ever feel like you'd made a mistake?
No, not at all. When I had the idea for this space, it was one of those feelings of this was my purpose, is what I was put on this earth to do. So I have put everything I have into this.
Zenva also serves mocktails, coffee, kombucha, and tea, drawing in adults of all ages.
Within the kava community, one of the things that I loved about it was there was such a sense of community that I had never seen out in the bars before. Everybody inspires everybody, and the conversations are so deep. We all have something to learn from older people. I think we all have something to learn from the younger people. And this space has really meshed all age groups within this safe community that we have here. And it's probably the thing that fills my heart the most to watch daily coming in.
Why do you think it's so important for people to have a place like this where the goal is actually to bring calmness and release anxiety?
I think that we live in such a busy world where everything is go. We never have enough time. I think connection is lacking so much across the board. This is a place to really find connection, and you can help find yourself and to be centered, which is, I think, what's really lacking.
Well, that visit to Zenva was my first kava experience, and I have been back since, and you do get a different vibe during the day versus if you're there in the evening. It does have a little bit more of a cocktail feel, but the kava itself, I thought it was a little bit of an earthy taste. It is an acquired taste, definitely a little on the bitter side, so perhaps you want to add a little flavored, I don't know, coconut milk or something, but I tell you, just stepping inside, you can just instantly feel this calming vibe, and it really is a place for deeper social connection when you take the alcohol out of the equation. So I'll open it up to you guys. Cecily, what do you think? Kava bar trend, have you been to one? You know, what do you think about this need for healthy places for people to get together?
I think it's so important, and no, I've never been, and I'm a little jealous, Amy, because you seem to get all the good stories, right? And you don't invite me in for the ride, right? But I would have loved to have gone to visit that. I've never gone before. I definitely want to do it. And I think there's something about centering yourself, because as she said, we're all so busy. We're going here, we're doing this, and never do we really have a time to just sit and get centered and connect. And I like that. So I'm in. Next time we should go as a team.
Perfect.
You know, she said that several times in the story, Amy, that connection is lacking, you know, and that's an age-old problem with people. You know, we're all kind of within ourselves, and that's why bars evolved. It's because of that liquid courage that you think that you need. But maybe people can bond a little bit better over being healthy and making themselves stronger and better instead of having to do something to dull their senses to be able to connect. It's probably a much better way to do it. I hope people will give it a shot.
Yeah, you know, I never realized that from a business perspective, there's actually a niche between a coffee shop and the alcohol scene, but kudos to her. And Amy, I have to tell you, after seeing your story, I spent way too much time reading about kava culture, a beverage that produces feelings of euphoria while relieving social anxiety. I'm with Cecily. Take me with you the next time you go.
It's a date. Let's do it.
Learned a lot, and definitely about growing older and communicating with other people around me and how important socializing is with people of all ages.
Welcome back inside GBHQ as we continue our journey to what's next. You know, Growing Bolder isn't just on TV, and we're not just online or just on the radio, social media, or in print. We're also on the ground, hosting live events and interacting with and learning from the men and women who are leading Growing Bolder lives with us. In fact, we recently pulled the trigger on an event that we've been talking about for a few years. This is an event that we thought could make a real contribution. We call it Wisdom Walk, and the idea is to bring together a diverse and intergenerational group, different ages, different races, religions, and ethnicities, to walk and talk together in an effort to break down barriers and realize that we can all learn something from others. And I have to tell you, the response was amazing.
I sent a note to Christy saying, would you be interested? And in like 2 seconds, she texted me back and said, yes!
You always can learn from younger people and older people.
It was just like getting new insights and like learning like just a new experience for me.
I really enjoy spending every moment I can with my mom and having my son learn from her the many things she teaches him.
Oh, we always learn from each other. Me and this guy. Everything.
The first annual Wisdom Walk has begun!
You have a lot to learn, and the younger ones show it to you. And they're usually surprised that we can actually move.
My greatest life lesson. Maybe being kind to others really pays off.
Hey, we're making it. 3 generations here.
The Wisdom Walk brought together 2, 3, and 4 generation families to have deeper conversations spurred by prompts around a 1-mile trail. We had strollers and wheelchairs, infants and toddlers, Older adults paired up with teens and college students, some of whom met for the first time that morning.
It was honestly a great experience, learned a lot, and definitely about growing older and communicating with other people around me and how important socializing is with people of all ages, because you can learn a lot of amazing things.
Tell us what it did for you. I mean, to come out here and walk with a couple of younger women that you've never met before, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was wonderful. I'm really overwhelmed with emotions. I did this in honor of my aunt who turned 80 today, and the future is bright. They're just wonderful people.
I have children, 2 daughters and grandchildren, and I always think I try to be healthy for them. That's what I can do.
I'm amazed that she's so healthy. She's better health than me, and the reason is because she's willing to go out and do things that you wouldn't expect an elder person to do. And that's what we need people to understand, that we're all the same, and we're all very interesting, and that we just have to go and put ourselves out there.
We are all so much better when we're together, aren't we? The wisdom walk. I mean, it sounds like an idea that's been around forever. Mark, kudos for you for coming up with it, creating an atmosphere where intergenerational relationships become the norm. And our concepts of age, they come from personal experience and not stereotypes. So, Mark, what did you think of how it went, and how far can this go?
Well, first of all, Bill, it was a group endeavor, so thank you to you and everybody else on the team. And it really was. It was all that we hoped for. It certainly validated the idea, and we have since had interest from many who heard about it. So you ask what's its potential. It will grow into an annual event. I think it can grow into a national event. I think it has the potential to become more than an event and actually become a movement, because it's something that our divided culture obviously needs now more than ever.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like when we're apart in silos, you notice that's an older person, but when we're together, age disappears and it's just people.
Amen. I appreciate that. You know, folks, speaking of intergenerational groups, the number of Americans that are now living in multi-generational family households is 4 times larger than it was back in the 1970s. 60 million U.S. residents have multiple generations under one roof. And because we're living longer, there are more 5- and 6-generation families than ever before. In fact, take a look at this. There has only been one known 7-generation family in history. Augusta Bunges, at 109 years old, was a great-great-great-great-grandmother before passing in 1989. 6-generation families are still pretty rare, but 5-generation families are about to become very common.
Come on, Mom. Come on, Mom. Come on, Mom. Come on, Mom.
Growing Bolder stands for and celebrates those who are out there smashing ageist stereotypes of all kinds. And, you know, one that I am particularly proud of pushing back against is this one. Older adults can't be into gaming. Absolutely wrong. Research has actually proven that gaming of all kinds, whether it's video games, board games, anything in between, have countless mental, physical, and social benefits for all of us as we age. And that's why I'm very excited today to actually be gaming on a one-of-a-kind product that's called GrandPad. It's a tablet that was specifically designed with older adults in mind. It features a safe private family network for video calls, for messaging, internet surfing, photo sharing, and more. And now, big news, folks, multiplayer gaming. And so with that, let's bring in 2 of the big brains behind gaming on GrandPad, co-founder Isaac Lean and Justin Prate, who is the senior product manager of games and entertainment. And Justin and I are going to be playing I think it's going to be a friendly game of checkers, but who knows? I think we both like to trash talk a little bit. But while we chat, I'm going to go ahead and make the first move here. It's my turn. I'm going to tap that and move them to there. And as we get going, Isaac, tell us how this idea came about. How did you decide to add in remote multiplayer gaming on the GrandPad?
Yeah, so it really comes back to the founding idea of GrandPad, which was how can we stay in touch with my grandparents who lived across the country from myself and my parents? You have that lightweight connection, and also it's just a fun way to play games like I'm already doing with my friends, but my grandma was left out of that loop.
I got on it 5 minutes before we started this conversation and was asked to find the game, invite you to play, and begin playing. And it was unbelievably easy to do. So thank you for that. And I know one of the reasons you guys are able to do this as well as you do is that you have what you call your grand advisors. I mean, these are the people that you lean into for advice on how to build this stuff. Who are your grand advisors and what did they tell you about gaming?
They're extremely beneficial because it's a user base that's not me, it's not the designers on the team, so we have to get it firsthand from them. Like in Checkers specifically, there's the instructional text on like the right, so like that was a really big thing from there. The UX flows on getting in, how you invite somebody, that was really big as well.
I think what Justin and I are doing is a great example of why this is so important for older adults, because it's not just us trying to figure out where we want to move. We're having a conversation why we play. Talk to us about the social and the health benefits for older adults to actually be playing games like this together.
As research continues to show and becomes more well known kind of in the public consciousness, being lonely or isolated, that's really detrimental to your health. You know, it speeds up the onset of all sorts of other issues. So anything we can do to help everyone, have more social engagement, whether it's the older adult who's using the GrandPad or even the young grandchild who's maybe living on their own, it's one more social interaction throughout the whole day for both of us.
Sometimes I've heard my kid talking to his grandma, and like that conversation is hard to get going sometimes because he's a little more shy and doesn't want to start. But once you get playing games, like people open up. So I think that's the main focus, is just connection. Using games as a tool as much as we can in many different ways to connect our users.
Well, a recent development for those of you who are following, a little bit of play-by-play now. Mark has just double jumped to a king. Justin is indeed hurting right now. So while we continue our exciting game here, you can learn even more about all of GrandPad's features and why countless older adults are now choosing this easy-to-use device by attending a product demonstration webinar at grandpad.net. Check it out. You'll be glad you did.
And thanks for joining us back on What's Next. It's time now for Your Take, where we post a question on our Facebook page to hear the thoughts from our more than 1 million followers. So all show, we've been talking about social connection, and what better way to learn about each other than to talk about food and travel. Well, with that in mind, we asked, using only food, tell us your favorite city in the world. John and Pam both said deep dish pizza. So I'm betting their favorite city is Chicago, right? And we saw a lot of answers pointing to Paris, like Petra, who said creme brulee, Terry, who said escargot, and Jennifer, who said French bread. And there were so many popular responses using Hispanic foods like tapas, tamales, empanadas, and enchiladas. Oh my gosh. Okay, Amy, your turn. Please tell us your favorite city in the world using only food. Go.
Well, mine was actually already used, but it is my all-time favorite city, so I cannot stray from deep dish pizza, which is actually my favorite food as well. And I'll throw in Garrett's popcorn along with it for dessert.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Is that Chicago? Are those Chicago things?
Those are Chicago things, yes. Giordano's.
Yeah, wash that down with the brat. I mean, mine, anybody from there will know immediately what I'm talking about, but nobody else, I'm guessing, from around there will. How about toasted ravioli?
St. Louis.
Big time St. Louis treat. Toasted ravioli. You can only get it done right there. And that's the way it is with a lot of these foods, right, Sass?
Yeah, it is. Okay, then how about this? One of my favorites, I have multiple, but one of my favorites is curry chicken.
Have you been to Delhi?
No, Jamaica. I know it's a
Jamaican jerk
country.
chicken.
It's an island. Jerk chicken, yeah, that too. But yeah, I love curry chicken.
So this game, as I understand it, and I'm not sure I do, is about the city and not necessarily about the food. So if that's what we're going for, I'm going to say paella.
Oh.
Mexico City?
No, Puerto Rico.
The city could be many, but for me it's Barcelona. I love me some Barcelona. Well, that was fun. I'm not sure if it was interesting or not, but kudos, I think, to our producers and our social media folks, because that's a pretty good way to get back to our main point today, which of course is the importance of social engagement and intergenerational relationships, and food. Kava, Wisdom Walk, and social gaming are all great ways to bring down the barriers that divide us and celebrate that which unites us, because community, folks, is important to all of us when it comes to what's next. We'll see you next time.